This is the 2025 Brewtubers Online Brewers Club Malt Experiment, Amber Ale. Thanks to our sponsors. 5 Star Chemicals. Check out their new online straight-to-consumer homebrew shop where you can buy everything from Star San and line cleaner to the new liquid PBW that can be used at temperatures as low as 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Check out their online store at 5starchemicals.com/home-brewing. Beer and Wine Hobby Homebrew Supply Store. A local homebrew shop in Danvers, Massachusetts. Order any malt they offer in any quantity you want, and if you order before 11 a.m., they'll package your items and ship out the very same day. Visit the store at www.beer-wine.com. Let's get tasting.
Welcome to the final episode of Brewtubers 2025 Specialty Malt Experiment, where today I will be reviewing my beer. And I didn't put a label on my can because, well, you can see here, this thing took a nosedive, well, kind of a side dive, and fell off about 4 feet. And I was surprised that this thing did not break. So if you're ever wondering, do home canners for home brewing actually work? Yeah, they do. I canned this beer back in August and shipped it out to the other brewtubers out there. I almost said brewtubers, but we do have female brewtubers as well. So, well, either which way, I digress. Anyway, I was quite surprised at how well it's going to work. I have a feeling that if this would have been in bottles and that took a nosedive, I would have been dancing around glass shards and cleaning up beer for a while. So I was very happy to find out that this thing did not disappoint with being able to put it in the cans. This also happens to be the first time I've ever have canned beer in my life. Now, what kind of an advancement is that for homebrewers to be able to actually put our stuff into cans by ourselves? We don't have to hire somebody in. We don't have to go seek somebody out and bring a keg of beer with us. No, we can actually do it all right here at our home. It's amazing. It's just from when I started homebrewing back in the late 90s to now mid-2020s, man, there's been a lot that's changed. I mean, I've gone through from brewing in a bucket with hopped extracts to now all grain brewing. And it's been quite the journey. Well, enough about my home brewing journey. Let's just get cracking. With this specialty malt, I chose Carrared. Now, I've used Carrared before, and I was extremely excited with the results. And I used Carrared along with some Melanoidin malts. So if you go back to Gamdude Billy, he used Melanoidin. And well, there's a German red beer, it's a red lager, where I actually use Melanoidin and Carrared together. And let me tell you, that is one fabulous beer. Now, I stumbled across that recipe when I was checking through for some unique combinations of malts that I could use. And well, if you can't notice, I'm kind of of German descent. And so I happened to be looking through, German maltsters. And this is styles of beers that I like to brew anyways, right? So I came across on Wireman's website. And recently, I mentioned it to somebody else, and they couldn't find the recipe anymore. Thankfully, I was able to catch a hold of it and grab a hold of it and save it and brew that beer because it's fabulous. But, I mean, I got to digress. I got to get back on track. Carrared from Wireman. It's designed not only is to bring some nice color to the beer, but also bring notes of things like caramel and honey and biscuits. All things that are delicious, right? So without further ado, let's get cracking. Here we go. Now, because this has been equalized, it was canned up here and everything, it's not crawling out of the can like some of the other ones have done. And that's kind of normal. It's going for the pour. Let's go ahead and get a little squish here. All right. Now I'm having to use my specially designed glasses from actually one of the other Brewtubers. They're board shorts is what he goes by. Those down in Florida. I traded him my old malt mill for some laser engraved glasses. So thanks, good board shorts. Appreciate that. So as we get into this, we can see looking fabulous, great looking beer, nice and clear. Some other folks have reviewed my beer, and this is kind of why I was waiting for mine to be the end. And I wanted to see, since my first time canning, what it was going to be like for them to receive my beer, how it's going to handle, how it's going to hold up. You want to talk about doing something for the first time and being very anxious about things. Some of them were received very well, and some not quite so much. So obviously I've been thinking about what did I do, or what can I do next time that I do can up some beers and send them out, so I can get a more consistent result across the board. And well, I mean, that's where Brewtubers has been a great help for me, even though I've been brewing for off and on quite a while. The wealth of knowledge in the group is amazing. Everything from people that are brewing in buckets and small batches all the way up to 1-barrel batches of beer. The magnitude of the different styles that people have preferences for, to include, we've got several that do meads and ciders, and we've got some BJCP judges that are members. Just an absolute amazing group of folks. And in the last year that I've been a member, they've helped me expand, believe it or not. We've all been able to share information, and quite honestly, if it wasn't for the Brewtubers, I wouldn't have even canned a beer yet. So with that, let's just go ahead and get in on the nose of this thing. Oh wow, yeah. Oh, it smells so good. Now, when I brewed this beer, I brewed a 10-gallon batch. Just looking at the base recipe, looking at when I've done ambers before, I knew it was going to be pretty close to what I've done before. Not the same, but then I just went for it. Went ahead and did a 10-gallon batch, and I was super happy that I did, because boy, oh boy, when it was ready, I got through a 5-gallon keg of it pretty short order. So it was a really good thing that I brewed 10 gallons. That was so I could can up and send out. I sent out 16 cans, even though there's a total of 11 of us. I wanted to include a few extra cans partly for other people to maybe get an extra can in there. Hopefully it would land with the folks that actually really enjoyed the beer. At the same time, we had one member who took on the load to be able to receive all the beers, get them organized, and get them sent out. So Fermentation Adventures Kurt, outstanding job. He also did the base beer recipe with Exit 12 Nick. Those two put it together. Obviously, we all voted on what we wanted to do, and we had competing ideas. So it was great. We were able to not only settle on an amber, but then also a specialty malt comparison at the same time. But Kurt handled it very well as far as receiving the beers, getting them repackaged and sent out. And, like I said, I included a few extra beers in my package that I sent out because I just wanted to say thank you. And it turns out some other folks did the same thing. And, that's the fun part. So I've got a couple extras of these specialty malt experiment beers to go back to, which is going to be great. And now that I'm wrapping up the year of all these reviews and everything, it's going to be fun to be able to just relax and not be so anxious about trying to get it right on the first try. But I just want to say, first off, thank you to the Brewtubers for helping me expand my abilities. with canning and, well, now I guess YouTubing. It's been great, but enough yapping. Let's just go ahead and get after this here. So malty. Getting the caramel notes, getting a little bit of toast and biscuits. It's kind of reminding me of like the edge, like just the edge of like a fresh baked cookie with some caramel notes, biscuits. I mean, it's just, what is that one? It's that European thing. It's called Biscoff, I think. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Just a nice cookie taste, or the aromas and stuff, right? So, well, before any more of the wind or pine needles try to fall into my beer, let's go in for the taste. Oh man, so glad I still had one of my own. It still tastes really good. So it reminds me when I cracked that first pour. And some of the Brewtubers might remember how elated I was with going, holy man, this is delicious. Definitely going to be the way I continue to brew my embers. And looking forward to 2026 here to actually get this beer brewed, have some cans on standby. Now that I've had a chance to see how it handles on standby in the cooler for a few months. And I'm going to see if I can't pop an award or two. Hopefully. That's my goal. Like I said, the Brewtubers have been helping me expand, get out of my comfort zone quite a bit, which is a good thing, right? When you got a family that's willing to test you a little bit. It's a good thing. It can only make you better, right? All this yapping, it's been interesting. Been an interesting year for sure. But like I said, it's just nice maltiness, a little bit of biscuit. The nose has a little bit of caramel and a little bit of honey in there. Just the layer of complexity. And then the hops are coming in and cleaning everything up, just cleaning off the palate nice and beautiful. Gives you a chance to kind of think about what you just tasted. And now you have this refreshing layer hitting your tongue, which is, well, hold on. It's making me want to go back for more. Man. This whole experiment piece, right? Where a total of 11 of us, the Brewtubers, got together and we all decided that we were going to go ahead and see what we can do with this. And this has probably been the biggest, well, I shouldn't say probably, it has been the biggest learning example that I've had as a home brewer, without having to make a lot of the same beer over and over and over and trying those little things. And then you have all the time span between each one, trying to remember back to what iteration is better and everything. So, I mean, this is one of the values that Brewtubers is bringing, is that 11 of us got together, brewed the same base recipe, threw our own specialty malt at it, or in Fermentation Adventures case, he just used Cinnamar, and because he wanted to get the color, but have a baseline, which is kind of funny because he called his beer sort of the baseline. And to be able to sit down, go through all these beers without having to go through the expense of brewing even 1 gallon batches, 11 1 gallon batches, and then trying to make sure everything came out correctly and everything stayed organized. This has been a lot of fun. Absolutely a lot of fun. Oh, such a great beer. Obviously, you're probably wondering, where would I rate my beer in this whole mix? I'm gonna try and stay humble a little bit, right? There's been some other beers that have been absolutely smashing. everybody who participated has done an absolute great job. And I'm splitting hairs here, but there's been one thing that's been pretty consistent, and that is where everybody's packaging has been solid. Even the couple of bottles that we received came through just fine. I was quite happy. I've had bottles try to be shipped to me before, and they never arrive because the bottles start to break with the altitude and all that fun stuff. But the one commonality in this whole thing is everybody has executed these beers extremely well. Absolutely smashing it out of the ballpark. Man, trying to throw mine in there. I think I'm going to have to put mine in just one notch. I'm sorry, I'm looking down. I'm looking at my list of the other 10 brewers. And I'm going to put myself right underneath Hattie Brews, but right above Fermentation Adventure. Trying to be humble about this. As much as I want to toot my own horn, per se. Yeah, I think I'm going to put mine right in the middle. The other folks, maybe had a slight flaw that I don't prefer, or not quite to the exact style, but was still a lot of fun to taste. Where Underground, he used I believe it was a millet malt. That was an interesting one, that's for sure. I think I'm gonna have to use that one when I make like a Belgian style, just because like in the place of like Special B in a beer, just to add some uniqueness, because it brought a lot of the same flavors, but it helps reduce the amount of gluten in the beer. So I'm gonna have to go back to Underground and talk to him about how he goes through and processes those malts, because they're a little bit smaller than a standard barley malt. And so I'll have to see if there's anything extra I need to do with that. But it will be fun to use that. And I guess, that's probably the other big thing with this whole experiment is it's opened my eyes to, like, I've used some of these different malts, but I never thought about using them in an amber necessarily. And just going about it in a slightly different way, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. I know for sure I'm going to be going back the way Brookside set up his, where he did his, but his extraction rates were a little bit low. So it came in like a sub 5% beer, which I think is going to be amazing during the summer, where I don't always like to drink a lot of like light colored beers and stuff, because I want more depth of flavor, right? And so that's a prime example of learning something from somebody else. Maybe they had a bad day or whatever it happens, but it still turned out amazing. And I now have a new idea of something to try and try and replicate, and just have another unique flavor addition out there. So with that, I'm going to put myself, like I said, below Hattie, but right above Fermentation Cart. So as the standings of the 11 brews, we got Gam Dude, then Irondale, Wrecked, Exit 12, Brewmaster Jerry, Hattie Brews, then myself, Fermentation Adventures, Hoonda Hut, Brookside, and then Underground. And all I have to say in closing to this whole thing, besides, well, everything else I've already rambled on, and it's probably too long of a video to begin with, thank you to the Brewtubers. It's been amazing here. Prost.